Good morning. Welcome to another One Mind meditation. And welcome to the middle of the week. We are in Wednesday, the middle of the work week at least. Our teacher for this week is Hafez. And I have some beautiful thoughts and quite funny thoughts from Hafez to share with you today. Tracy, good morning. Celine, Sunmari, good morning. Annalie, good morning. Dylan, good morning. Hello, beautiful humans. Awesome starting my day right here with you. Today we're talking about coping mechanisms, and especially the masks that we find ourselves reaching for in order to feel like we're being accepted by the humans around us. I think it's an important topic that needs to be revisited often so we can be reminded to work on being our true selves. Danae, good morning. Hello, good to see you. A coping mechanism, and I like to put this in inverted commas because we throw around that term and it tends to be that we carry a lot of judgment around that term coping mechanism. But a coping mechanism is not a moral failing. It's just a scared part of a human trying hard to deal with what can sometimes feel like too much to handle. My favorite part of the work of the poet Hafez is that while he spoke about serious subjects, he also had a deeply mischievous streak. For all his seriousness, he never strayed far away from humor. In today's quotes, his humor shines really bright. The first thought from Hafez says, admit something. Everyone you see, you say to them, love me. Of course, you don't do this out loud, otherwise someone would call the police. Still though, think about this great pull in us to connect. He says, subconsciously, everyone we see, we say to them, please love me. Hafez accurately describes the biggest reason for most of our coping mechanisms, the very deep need to be accepted. To some degree, we all have a desperation to belong, old programming left over from our tribal days when an abandoned human wouldn't survive well in the wilderness alone. Anne-Marie, good morning, good to see you. Even though there is nothing morally wrong with having a coping mechanism, it also never provides the actual solution. It's like a band-aid. It makes something perhaps feel a little bit better, but nothing is solved. Just like a crutch that can be very useful for a time to relieve pressure. I mean, a crutch can be a necessary thing and allow healing to happen. But ultimately, if you want to stand fully on two firm legs again, you will have to completely let it go. Our coping mechanisms are often like that, something that seems to be useful in the short term, but keep us weak in the long term. Charlene, good morning, awesome seeing you. Hafez provides the best description I've ever heard of the hollow rewards that our coping mechanisms provide. He says, learn to recognize the counterfeit coins that may buy you just a moment of pleasure, but then drag you for days like a broken man behind a farting camel. I guess he'd specifically be referring to something like alcohol in this case, but a coping mechanism nonetheless. One of our biggest coping mechanisms, and the one that might be the hardest to spot, is our ability to put on a mask in an attempt to make ourselves acceptable to the people around us. A mask to make us feel like we're a little bit safe in this environment. We can spend a whole lifetime bending ourselves to fit into the shapes that make others feel more comfortable while denying ourselves, and never discover the beauty and raw power of our own authenticity. Alexandra, good morning. Good to see you with us live. Be gentle with your fear though. Accept the scared human who had a need for those old patterns in order to be able to cope. And understand that when you fully love yourself, this need will disappear. Today's meditation is a gentle journey of recognizing our own masks in an attempt to empower ourselves with the awareness of where it is that we feel the need to hide our true selves. Stefan, good morning. Happy Wednesday. We are just getting ready to set sail. You can close your eyes and let's float away together, starting with the first few big breaths. Let's take a deep breath in and out. A deep breath in and out. A deep inhale and let it go. Deep breath in and out. One more big breath in and let it all flow away. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose gets drawn all the way deep down into your belly. And as you fill up your belly with air, also raise yourself up. As you breathe in, stretch out your spine, lift the top of your head toward the ceiling. And once you've reached your full height, let all of it go. With every exhale, soften. With every breath out, soften your spine, slump down your shoulders, and drop your head. Continue your full body breathing, rising with every inhale and falling with every exhale. While we take a moment to talk about your name. Your name. How do you even know what your name is? How does every cell in your body instinctively react when your name is mentioned? When we spend a moment to think about this, The answer is obvious. This name was called out around you, mentioned around you, said to you so many thousands of times that every cell in your body surrendered to its truth. This is who I am. You were not born with this name. The cells in your body did not know this name when you were born. But with repetition from the world around you, it became a big piece of who you are. There's a term for this. It is called a reflected sense of self. And as kids, this is how we get to know ourselves, by the things reflected to us from the humans around us. I get to know myself by the reactions of the people around me when I'm a child. On the one hand, this forms a huge part of what we are. On the other hand, we do not need to be locked up in the prison that our environment might have created for us. Because your soul is not locked into what the cells of your body learned. Your original being is still the truth of who you are. Your work is to become less invested in this flesh and bone human body. Love it all the same, but less invested in the identity of this flesh and bone human body, and more in tune with your soul. Our journey today does take a look at the masks we've picked up along the way, in a recognition of the ways in which you might be hiding your true self. A reminder for you to keep doing the work that eventually makes it easier for you to step into the world raw and naked as the soul that you are. We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, helping our bodies stretch and adjust and settle down into as much comfort as possible for the rest of our journey. Let's take a deep breath in. As you release, drop your head all the way forward and roll out your neck muscles. Forward and to the left, and forward and to the right. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders forward in big, slow circles. Take a deep breath in. As you release, roll your shoulders backwards in big circles, nice and slow. Take a deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine. Lean your upper body over to the left. and lean your upper body over to the right. One more big breath in. And as you release, you can stretch or move or adjust any part of your body that still needs a bit of help settling down. Having softened our bodies into a state of presence, or at least as present as we can be, we can now turn our attention inwards and dive deep inside for the next part of our journey. If you don't have the time to sit for the whole meditation with us, then this is always a really good place to stop. But if you are here for the next part of the journey, then with every next inhale, we'll hold our breath for a few short moments, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. Let's take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, make it a really long, really slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel into your body. Feel how softness slips in and settles in every part of your body. Take a deep breath in. And hold. As you release, follow the downwards flow through your body. Feel your shoulders slowly falling. Feel your body slowly softening. And feel how you are slowly slipping deeper into you. One more big breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel yourself melting. Feel your whole body dissolving. Feel how you are slipping into a deeper level of surrender with every slow exhale. You can continue the same breathing pattern on your own time. Every slow inhale through your nose is an invitation. It invites you to turn inwards and follow this journey. As you breathe in, feel the air flow in through your nostrils. Feel the air touch the back of your throat. Stay with your breath as it flows in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, feel yourself slip all the way in. Hold your breath. But hold it only for as long as it feels easy, followed by a really long, really slow exhale. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, I want you to bold this image in your mind. You were born as your original being. We all were. Then with time, we pick up baggage. We all do. This is part of our human journey. And as a part of our baggage, we might have also along the way picked up masks, ways in which we pretend to be okay, put on a smile, ways in which we change who we really are or how we really feel so that we can be accepted, so that we can feel safe in that moment. As you take your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, the image that I want you to see is underneath all of that baggage, underneath all of the fear, there is your true being. Have you moved closer to being the expression of your true being in this life? Take your next big breath. We'll start our journey with masks, all the way back at the beginning of this life at least. With your next big breath, as you dive deep into you, I want you to open yourself to the possibility of remembering a moment as a very young child with your parents or perhaps other caregivers, where they made the very young you feel like you're not acceptable as you are. You're not being accepted. And you would have to show up differently in order to be accepted. Can you remember a moment like that? Take your next big breath. it's very human in those moments to form the belief that I have to be different. I have to be a different kind of person in order to survive in this world. When you wear that mask, which part of your true self are you hiding? We're taking this mask off and we are gently placing it on the floor next to us. And we're asking our true self to remind us of who we are. We have many of these instances in our life. We're stepping forward to a next moment. Other adults in your life probably helped raise you. Aunts and grandmothers especially. Perhaps sometimes we spent a lot of times with the neighbors, and we were halfway raised in their homes perhaps. Other adults also played a huge role in what formed our childhood sense of self. Can you remember a moment with any other adult caregiver where how you felt was, I'm not being accepted as I am, and I would have to show up differently in order to be acceptable? Take your next big breath. We'll take that mask off for the moment and place it on the floor next to you gently. And ask yourself the question, which part of me am I hiding? Which part of my true self am I hiding when I wear this mask? Let's ask our true self to remind us of who we really are. The kids we spend time with when we're young, we take a lot of meaning from our interaction with them too. Could be siblings that we spend a lot of time with. Could be cousins we spend a lot of time with. Could be the neighbors' kids or kids from the neighborhood. Can you remember a moment with your young friends, young children in your life, where you felt like the way I am is not accepted, and I will have to be different for these people to accept me? Take your next big breath. For the moment, you can take that mask off, put it on the floor next to you, And ask yourself, which part of my true self am I hiding when I wear this mask? We're asking our true self to consistently remind us of who we really are. Our school teachers, they were a huge influence on our sense of identity, the way we see ourselves. Can you remember a moment with a school teacher where you felt like the way I am is not acceptable and I have to show up differently, otherwise I will not be accepted? Take your next big breath. You can take that mask off and gently place it on the floor next to you. And ask yourself, which part of my true self am I hiding when I wear this mask? We're asking our true self to consistently remind us of who we really are. Then your teenage friends. What is typically called peer pressure for a reason. Our teenage friends and the opinions they have of us were a huge influence on how we saw ourselves. Can you remember a moment with a teenage friend where you felt like the way I am is not acceptable and I will have to show up differently in order to be accepted? Take your next big breath. Take that mask off too and place it gently on the floor next to you. Ask yourself, which part of my true self am I hiding when I wear this mask? We're asking our true self to remind us always of who we really are. Our last stop is our adult relationships. While the meanings we formed as a kid, while they have the biggest impact, this doesn't stop when we're adults. Our adult relationships have a deep impact on us too. The romantic relationships, the professional relationships, even the platonic relationships, of course. Can you remember a moment in your adult life where you felt like the way I am is just not going to be acceptable and I have to show up differently in order to be accepted? Take your next big breath. can take that mask off too. And again, ask yourself, which part of my true self am I hiding when I wear this mask? We'll take the last few big breaths of this phase together, slipping out of the breath holding space and into the next. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, make it a long, slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. As you release, feel how softness slips into your body. Feel how softness settles in every fiber of your being. One more big breath in and hold. And as you release, feel yourself slip all the way through. There is no more attention on your breathing. You can sit all the way back, or even lie all the way back down and feel yourself just floating. I'll read to you one more time a few parts of today's message. We all have an inherent need to want to connect, to want to belong, to want to be accepted. Which is why Hafez says, admit something. Everyone you see, you say to them, love me. Of course you don't do this out loud, otherwise someone would call the police. Still though, think about this. This great pull in us to connect. A very, very human need. And it's from this human need that we almost accepted that we'd have to change ourselves in order to be accepted. But all the masks we wear, all of the coping mechanisms that played their role in helping us feel safe, they're all ultimately hollow because they don't solve the real issue. Hafez says, learn to recognize the counterfeit coins that may buy you just a moment of pleasure, but then drag you for days like a broken man behind a farting camel. A bit of humor to illustrate quite clearly that what gives us temporary reprieve normally just doesn't last. None of our coping mechanisms do. Can you look at the human, your human, and understand that there were moments that this human had to wear a mask to feel safe, had to reach for a coping mechanism to feel like he or she could survive? Can you have acceptance for this human? Can you love this human even with all of the old patterns that this human is still struggling to shake. If you can look at this human in this way, have acceptance for this human that is trying. I want to repeat that again. This human has been trying to find acceptance by the world around her, around him. If you can find true acceptance for this human that has been trying, then one by one all those masks will fall off, and eventually not one of them will be necessary, because your acceptance is what you ultimately need more than anything else. We'll take the last 5 breaths of gratitude together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for this journey of recognizing the ways in which we have erected our own barriers between our true self and the world. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for understanding that all these barriers, all these masks, all these coping mechanisms were really just an attempt of a scared human to try and cope, to try and survive. Take a deep breath in. Thank you for having nothing but love and compassion for the scared human who is trying. Take a deep breath in. And thank you for becoming better at not hiding my true self. Better at remembering what my true self even is. And slowly getting better at showing my true self to the world. And not caring who doesn't like this. One more big breath in. Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for introducing your true self to the world. Colette, a very good morning. Hello, awesome seeing you. Anami, good morning. Very happy to have you here. Thank you, Danae. Thank you, Sunbury. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Honey. Good morning, Honey. Thank you, Stefan. And whoever else is on our journey today. Sometimes when we think the thought, my true self, sometimes it can still be hard to see past the worst parts of ourselves, our worst habits. I promise you that when you try and figure out who you are, try and see your true self, whenever you come across something that you dislike, that's not your true self. It's a wounded part of you still just trying its best to survive. A part of you that needs to be held and accepted. For the true self, which is a lot more like the mountain, can be felt. Thank you, Alexandra. It's good to see you here with us live. Have a beautiful day. See you all again soon. Ciao, ciao. And may your true self constantly remind you of who you really are. Adios.